Good morning and welcome back to another video, and today we will be going over the 10 best gold making ratios. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Okay, so today we're going to be going over 10 of the best gold making ratios. This is to basically optimize your characters, make them as good as they can possibly be, and overall just have a general look at which ones give you the best of just in general making gold and gold farming as a whole. That being said, let's move on to our first one at number 1, which is the TIRAN human. Now this one is for the Alliance faction, and at no surprise, this has one of the basic baseline level passive racial abilities, and this is called the Jack of all trades. This ability gives you +5 skill points in any profession that you have. So overall, if you don't know what profession you want to be a TIRAN, and then you can just have 5 skill points, bonus ones, in pretty much any different type of profession that you are willing to do. This is just great as a general gold making character, so if you're just gold making just in general, this is definitely well worth your time in order to do, just mainly for the, just in an overall sense. It's not really profession specific like most of the others. This just as a whole just works rather well just for those extra skill points, but as this gives you just a little bit of an edge when it comes towards your character. That being said, let's move on to our next one at number 2, which is the NIGHTBORNE. Now with the NIGHTBORNE, this is for the Horde faction, and at no surprise this comes in quite well, as this gives you the ability of having of ancient history, which will give the NIGHTBORNE player an additional 15 skill points. This means that they have a little bit of an edge when it comes towards inscription or the scribe profession, and providing that this is a very competitive market, this gives you a great overall just some little bit of an edge when it comes towards inscription, as you'll be able to level up things much faster. You'll be able to just get that additional bonus. So at the beginning of an expansion you can get that edge, and we all know that getting the edge early on in an expansion, then you'll be able to make a hell of a lot more gold than everyone else. That being said, overall in the general sense, the additional 15 skill points is definitely helpful, but overall not obviously the best. That's why it's ranked lower on this list. So following on to that, let's move on to our next one at number 3, which is the TAUREN. Now the TAUREN actually came at a bit of a surprise for me, because obviously I don't play Horde, and overall the passive racial for the TAUREN is known as cultivation. This ability gives the TAUREN player to have an additional 15 skill points within herbalism profession, which is generally very handy, especially when you're leveling up in current and old world contents, and also provides an increase to gathering speed. This means that they can pretty much get a free or an always on Dark Moon Firewater, which just overall just gives them an edge when it comes towards farming, especially if you pick a druid class. You, as a TAUREN, you'll be able to have that flight speed bonus and the travel form bonus, as well as being able to have the herbalism speed bonus, so you won't be dismounting, you'll be picking them faster, and you have 15 skill points. It's like the ultimate combo for herbalism profession. Overall, this is a herbalism based racial, and this generally reflects as the best one for herbalism. So if you are Horde, your herbalist should definitely be a TAUREN, as it will save you a lot of gold, a lot of time, and increase your gold per hour. That being said, let's move on to our next one at number 4, which is the LIGHTFORGED DRAENEI. Now this one is an alliance-based class, is an alliance-based racial, and this is the LIGHTFORGED DRAENEI's one. Added in the Battle for Azeroth expansion, the LIGHTFORGED DRAENEI is an allied race which was given a unique ability for the profession of blacksmithing and mining. This racial is called Forge of Light, which upon pressing will produce a forge to use for smelting, which is used in the profession for mining, and is quite handy when out and about in the open world. This means that you could do a mining farm and you could smelt your ore like almost immediately. This is just a a nice little bonus. And alongside that, they also receive an ability of gaining 10 different extra skill points when it comes towards the blacksmithing profession. This is definitely catered towards having your Lightforged DRAENEI as a blacksmith and a miner, and overall just gives them the bonus overall for that specific type of profession basis of mining and blacksmithing. So that being said, let's move on to our next one at number 5, which is the Dark Iron Dwarf. Dark Iron Dwarf is definitely a great racial to actually have, and with the Battle for Azeroth expansion it was added. The allied race came with the racials that are quite powerful in regards to professions, and this is best showcased within the Dark Iron Dwarf racial of mass production, in which it gives the ability of 5 extra skill points in blacksmithing, and also a blacksmithing buff which increases the crafting speed by 25%. That means it gives you an edge when crafting, so if someone was crafting the same thing as you and they started at the exact same time, your Dark Iron Dwarf would finish 25% faster than the other guy, so that's just a nice little bonus. And overall it just saves you a lot of time. So time is obviously money, friend, and this is definitely well worth your time if you're an alliance player and you have a blacksmith, as it gives you an additional 5 extra skill points along with that. This definitely gives you an edge when it comes towards the blacksmithing profession, as you'll be able to just get through your daily crafting much faster. You have the little bit of an edge when it comes towards your blacksmithing as a whole with its additional skill points, and in general you can then get onto other different types of things after that, so it reduces the time, saves you gold, and overall that is the Dark Iron Dwarf. That being said, let's move on to our next one at number 6, which came at a bit of a surprise for me, and that is the Mecha Gnome. As we move into the racials of the Mecha Gnome, this race has 3 main abilities which it can be combined into a very powerful passive for themselves. This is by far one of the most powerful passives for professions in the game thus far, and as such it is called Mastercraft. This makes the Mecha Gnome to function as an anvil, a cooking fire, and a forge, so which is quite powerful for engineers, blacksmiths, chefs, and miners. This powerful racial will help save time going place to place, doing their daily crafts, and anywhere, which is much easier as you can craft directly at the mailbox instead of at the trainer, which saves in the crafting process, as you can just basically be anywhere and you can just craft immediately. This is quite handy overall, and especially if you're a blacksmith, miner, engineer, and chef. Forget the chef for a second. Any of the combo with mining, blacksmithing, or engineering would work amazing, especially when it comes towards your gold making, as you don't have to run around everywhere. You can literally just stand at the auction house if you well wished, or if you have a Brutosaur, you could just stand by the mailbox and you would not have to move, which also would save you time when it comes towards your crafting. It's just an amazing racial ability, and overall that's why it's at number 6. That being said, let's move on to our next one at number 7, which is the WORGEN. Before we continue, consider supporting the channel by getting Dallas Guide to Gold Making, coming as either ebook or paperback on Amazon. This covers all aspects of gold making and how best to optimize yourself to make gold now and into the future. The link is in the description down below. Thank you. Now back to the video. Added in the Cataclysm expansion, the WORGEN race was given 2 special abilities in regards to the skinning profession. The passive ability was called Flayer, and as such it does what it says on the tin. This gives the WORGEN an additional 15 skill points, which is handy for leveling up the profession overall. But not only this, it also provides an ability of increasing the skinning speed of the WORGEN, which means they are a prized pick for this particular type of profession of skinning, as this provides you with the buffs in order to increase your skinning speed, as well as gives you the additional skill points to make you more competitive at the beginning of an expansion. And alongside that, they also have a extra ability which gives them an additional speed bonus when running old world dungeons and raids. Overall, the Worgen is a great class for gold making and gold farming for the profession of skinning, and can be paired quite well with the leatherworking profession to go along with that. So I'd highly recommend obviously having skinning on your Worgen and then using that and combining that with like something of leatherworking and to that effect. That being said, let's move on to our next one at number 8, which is the VULPERA. The VULPERA was added obviously in BFA and as an allied race. This race was given the unique ability of the alpaca saddlebags, which allows the VULPERA to have an additional 8 slots in their inventory. This is the best passive ability for banking characters, specifically as they are able to hold more and post more to the auction house, reducing the runs back to the mailbox. This also pairs well with gold farming as well, as you'll be able to put more materials and more items in your bags as well, and just overall just would work really dang well, because the more space you have in your inventory, the more you can post on the auction house at one given time, or you can always just farm and farm and farm and still have room in your bags. This is just a great overall gold farming thing, and I'm kind of jealous of the Horde at this moment in time, because it just looks that the Horde are just winning on racials for gold making. That being said, let's move on to our next one at number 9, which is the High Mountain Tauren. Also added in BFA, the High Mountain Tauren is given 2 racials which work hand in hand in regards to gold making in the open world. The first is called Waste Not or Want Not, which provides the ability of being able to loot additional meat and fish, either with the fishing profession and also meat-based farms in general. This is just amazing for gold making at the beginning of an expansion, as generally meats and fish go for a hell of a lot of gold. And overall, if you're just doing in general fishing like the albino cave fish farm, this works really well for gold makers who are trying to get the most bang for their buck. Second racial ability is called Pride of the Iron Horn, a powerful mining based passive which grants the High Mountain Tauren 15 skill points within the mining profession, and also an increase in their mining speed, making them one of the best races for gold farming with the mining profession. This is just overall a nice little bonus when it comes towards the mining profession as well. So you could always pick a High Mountain Tauren and have them as a druid, and you would be able to just mine it like crazy, as well as have the bonus from the druid class. You'll be able to combine that by just being able to farm more efficiently than any other class for herbalism and mining, so you could do multi-farms in a much faster rate. You could get more loot per hour, your gold per hour would skyrocket quite considerably. That being said, let's go on to our last one at number 10. Overall is one of the best gold making racials ever. Added in the Cataclysm expansion, goblins were given the most powerful passive racial within the game. This is called Best Deals Anywhere. This gives the goblin race the ability to get all price reductions for vendor buys possible, regardless of their reputation and faction locks for other races in the game. For example, the Vial of the Sands mount requires 8 sands of time and 1 Pyrium laced vial to craft. For the standard player, this would cost around about 29,000 gold, but this price can be brought down through grinding reputation with the Alderm Accord, which takes quite a fair amount of time to bring the price down, as this would require you to get to Exalted. As for goblins, they will get the discount regardless of their reputation with the Alderm Accord. This brings the price down to 23,200 gold, which is a saving of 5,800 gold. This can be used to make more gold when crafting and in a variety of different applications when it comes towards your gold making. That means that they can be more competitive on the auction house, as they have those reduced costs immediately. This can be done for the Frozen Orb flip as well, and just overall the basically the Goblin class is just broken when it comes towards just their price reductions. I'm looking at Horde at this moment in time, and they just literally blow the Alliance out of the water for gold making and gold farming as a whole. Aside from all of that, guys, that is pretty much my pick for the 10 best gold making racials. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon.